A direct shift gearbox, commonly abbreviated to Dsg, is an electronically controlled dual-clutch multiple-shaft manual gearbox, in a transaxle design without a conventional clutch pedal, and with full automatic, or semi-manual control. The first actual dual-clutch transmissions derived from Porsche in-house development for 962 racing cars in the 1980s. In simple terms, a Dsg is two separate manual gearboxes, contained within one housing, and working as one unit. It was designed by Borg-Warner, and was initially licensed to the Volkswagen Group, with support by IAV GmbH. By using two independent clutches, a Dsg can achieve faster shift times, and eliminates the torque converter of a conventional epicyclic automatic transmission. Overview: Transverse Dsg. At the time of launch in 2003, it became the world's first dual-clutch transmission in a series production car, in the German market Volkswagen Golf MK4R32 and shortly afterwards, worldwide in the original Audi TT 3.2. And for the first few years of production, this original Dsg transmission was only available in transversely oriented front-engine, front-wheel drive or Haldex traction-based four-wheel drive vehicle layouts. The first Dsg transaxle that went into production for the Volkswagen Group mainstream marks had 6 forward speeds, and used wet submerged multi-plate clutch packs. It has been paired to engines with up to 350 Nm of torque, and the two-wheel drive version weighs 93 kg. It is manufactured at Volkswagen Group's Kassel plant, with a daily production output of 1,500 units. At the start of 2008, another world first, an additional 70 kg 7-speed Dsg transaxle became available. It differs from the 6-speed Dsg, in that it uses two single-plate dry clutches. This clutch pack was designed by Luke Clutch Systems, LLC. This 7-speed Dsg is used in smaller front-wheel drive cars with smaller displacement engines with lower torque outputs, such as the latest Volkswagen Golf, Volkswagen Polo MK5, and the new Seat Ibiza. It has been paired to engines with up to 250 Nm. It has considerably less oil capacity than the 6-speed DQ250. This new DQ200 uses just 1.7 liters of transmission fluid. In September 2010, VW launched a new 7-speed Dsg built to support 500 Nm, the DQ500. Its first use was in the Audi TT-RS. Audi Longitudinal Dsg, in late 2008, an all-new 7-speed longitudinal S-tronic version of the Dsg transaxle went into series production. Initially, from early 2009, it is only used in certain Audi cars, and only with longitudinally mounted engines. Like the original 6-speed Dsg, it features a concentric dual wet multi-plate clutch. However, this particular variant uses notably more plates. The larger outer clutch uses 10 plates, whereas the smaller inner clutch uses 12 plates. Another notable change over the original Transverse Dsgs is the lubrication system. Audi now utilize two totally separate oil circuits. One oil circuit, consisting of 7.5 liters, lubricates the hydraulic clutches and mechatronics with fully synthetic specialist automatic transmission fluid, whilst the other oil circuit lubricates the gear trains and front and center differentials with 4.3 liters of conventional hypoid gear oil. This dual-circuit lubrication is aimed at increasing overall reliability, due to eliminating cross-contamination of debris and wear particles. It has a torque handling limit of up to 600 Nm, and engine power outputs of up to 330 kW. It has a total mass, including all lubricants and the dual-mass flywheel, of 141.5 kg. This was initially available in their Quattro all-wheel drive variants, and is very similar to the new ZF Friedrichshafen-supplied Porsche Doppelkupplung. Operational introduction: the internal combustion engine drives two clutch packs. The outer clutch pack drives gears 1, 3, 5, and reverse. The outer clutch pack has a larger diameter compared to the inner clutch, and can therefore handle greater torque loadings. The inner clutch pack drives gears 2, 4, and 6. Instead of a standard large dry single-plate clutch, Each clutch pack for the 6-speed Dsg is a collection of 4 small wet interleaved clutch plates. Due to space constraints, the 2 clutch assemblies are concentric, and the shafts within the gearbox are hollow and also concentric. Because the alternate clutch pack's gear sets can be pre-selected, unpowered time while shifting is avoided because the transmission of torque is simply switched from one clutch pack to the other. This means that the Dsg takes only about 8 milliseconds to upshift. In comparison, the sequential manual transmission in the Ferrari F430 Scuderia takes 60 milliseconds to shift, or 150 milliseconds in the Ferrari Enzo. The quoted time for upshifts is the time the wheels are completely non-powered. Dsg Controls, the direct shift gearbox uses a floor-mounted transmission shift lever, very similar to that of a conventional automatic transmission. The lever is operated in a straight fore and aft plane, and uses an additional button to help prevent an inadvertent selection of an inappropriate shift lever position. P position of the floor-mounted gear shift lever means that the transmission is set in park. Both clutch packs are fully disengaged, all gear sets are disengaged, and a solid mechanical transmission lock is applied to the crown wheel of the Dsg's internal differential. This position must only be used when the motor vehicle is stationary. Furthermore, this is the position which must be set on the shift lever before the vehicle ignition key can be removed. N position of the floor-mounted shift lever means that the transmission is in neutral. Similar to P above, both clutch packs and all gear sets are fully disengaged. However, the parking lock is also disengaged. D mode, whilst the motor vehicle is stationary and in neutral, the driver can select D for drive. The transmission's reverse gear is selected on the first shaft K1, and the outer clutch K2 engages at the start of the bite point. At the same time, on the alternate gear shaft, the reverse gear clutch K1 is also selected, as the gearbox doesn't know whether the driver wants to go forward or reverse. The clutch pack for second gear gets ready to engage. When the driver releases the brake pedal, the K2 clutch pack increases the clamping force, allowing the second gear to take up the drive through an increase of the bite point, and thereby transferring the torque from the engine through the transmission to the drive shafts and road wheels, causing the vehicle to move forward. Depressing the accelerator pedal engages the clutch and causes an increase of forward vehicle speed. Pressing the throttle pedal to the floor will cause the gearbox to kick down to first gear to provide the acceleration associated with first, although there will be a slight hesitation while the gearbox deselects second gear and selects first gear. As the vehicle accelerates, the transmission's computer determines when the second gear should be fully used. Depending on the vehicle speed and amount of engine power being requested by the driver, the Dsg then upshifts. During the sequence, the Dsg disengages the first outer clutch whilst simultaneously engaging the second inner clutch, thus completing the shift sequence. This sequence happens in 8 milliseconds, and can happen even with full throttle opening, and as a result, there is virtually no power loss. Once the vehicle has completed the shift to second gear, the first gear is immediately deselected, and third gear is pre-selected, and is pending. Once the time comes to shift into third, the second clutch disengages and the first clutch re-engages. This method of operation continues in the same manner for the remaining forward gears. Downshifting is similar to upshifting but in reverse order, and is slower, at 600 milliseconds, due to the engine's electronic control unit, or ECU, needing to blip the throttle so that the engine crankshaft speed can match the appropriate gear shaft speed. The car's computer senses the car slowing down, or more power required, and thus engages a lower gear on the shaft not in use, and then completes the downshift. The actual shift points are determined by the Dsg's transmission ECU, which commands a hydromechanical unit. The transmission ECU, combined with the hydromechanical unit, are collectively called a mechatronics unit or module. Because the Dsg's ECU uses fuzzy logic, the operation of the Dsg is said to be adaptive A. That is, the Dsg will learn how the user drives the car, and will progressively tailor the shift points accordingly to suit the habits of the driver. In the vehicle instrument display, between the speedometer and tachometer, The available shift lever positions are shown, the current position of the shift lever is highlighted, and the current gear ratio in use is also displayed as a number. Under normal, progressive and linear acceleration and deceleration, the Dsg shifts in a sequential manner, that is under acceleration, first greater than second greater than third greater than fourth greater than fifth greater than sixth. And the same sequence reversed for deceleration. However, the Dsg can also skip the normal sequential method, by missing out adjacent gears, and shift two or more gears. This is most apparent if the car is being driven at sedate speeds in one of the higher gears with a light throttle opening, and the accelerator pedal is then pressed down, engaging the kick-down function. During kick-down, the Dsg will skip gears, shifting directly to the most appropriate gear depending on speed and throttle opening. This kick-down may be engaged by any increased accelerator pedal opening, and is completely independent of the additional resistance to be found when the pedal is pressed fully to the floor, which will activate a similar kick-down function when in manual operation mode. The 7-speed unit in the 2007 Audi variants will not automatically shift to 6th gear. Rather, it stays at 5th to keep power available at a higher PM while cruising. When the floor-mounted gear selector lever is in position D, the Dsg works in fully automatic mode, with emphasis placed on gear shifts programmed to deliver maximum fuel economy. That means that shifts will change up and down very early in the rev range. As an example, on the Volkswagen Golf Mk5 GTI, 6th gear will be engaged around 52 km/h, when initially using the Dsg transmission with the default ECU adaptation, although with an aggressive, or sporty driving style. The adaptive shift pattern will increase the vehicle speed at which 6th gear engages. S mode, the floor selector lever also has an S position. When S is selected, Sport mode is activated in the Dsg. Sport mode still functions as a fully automatic mode, identical in operation to D mode, but upshifts and downshifts are made much higher up the engine rev range. This aids a more sporty driving manner, by utilizing considerably more of the available engine power, and also maximizing engine braking. However, this mode does have a detrimental effect on the vehicle fuel consumption, when compared to D mode. This mode may not be ideal to use when wanting to drive in a sedate manner. Nor when road conditions are very slippery, due to ice, snow or torrential rain because loss of tire traction may be experienced. On 4Motion or Quattro-equipped vehicles this may be partially offset by the drivetrain maintaining full-time engagement of the rear differential in S mode, so power distribution under loss of front-wheel traction may be marginally improved. S is highlighted in the instrument display, and like D mode, the currently used gear ratio is also displayed as a number. R position of the floor-mounted shift lever means that the transmission is in reverse. This functions in a similar way to D, but there is just one reverse gear. When selected, R is highlighted in the instrument display. Manual mode. Additionally, the floor shift lever also has another plane of operation, for manual mode, with spring-loaded plus and A positions. This plane is selected by moving the stick away from the driver when in D mode only. When this plane is selected, the Dsg can now be controlled like a manual gearbox, albeit only under a sequential shift pattern. In most applications, the readout in the instrument display changes to 654321, and just like the automatic modes, the currently used gear ratio is highlighted or emboldened. In other versions the display shows just M followed by the gear currently selected, for example M1, M2 etc. To change up a gear, the lever is pushed forward towards the plus, and to change down, the lever is pulled rearward towards the A. The Dsg transmission can now be operated with the gear changes being determined by the driver. This method of operation is commonly called Tiptronic. In the interests of engine preservation, when accelerating in manual Tiptronic mode, the Dsg will still automatically change up just before the readline, and when decelerating, it will change down automatically at very low revs, just before the engine idle speed. Furthermore, if the driver calls for a gear when it is not appropriate, the Dsg will not change to the driver's requested gear. Current variants of the DSG will still downshift to the lowest possible gear ratio when the kickdown button is activated during full throttle whilst in manual mode. In manual mode, this kickdown is only activated by an additional button at the bottom of the accelerator pedal travel. Unless this is pressed, the DSG will not downshift, and will simply perform a full throttle acceleration in whatever gear was previously being utilized. Paddle shifters, initially available on certain high-powered cars, and those with a sporty trim level Euro such as those using the 2.0 TFSI and 3.2/3.6 VR6 engines, a Euro steering wheel-mounted paddle shifters were available. However, these are now being offered on virtually all DSG-equipped cars, throughout all model ranges, including lesser power output applications, such as the 105 PS Volkswagen Golf Plus. These operate in an identical manner as the floor-mounted shift lever when it is placed across the gate in manual mode. The paddle shifters have two distinct advantages: the driver can safely keep both hands on the steering wheel when using the manual Tiptronic mode, and the driver can temporarily manually override either of the automatic programs, and gain instant manual control of the DSG transmission. If the paddle shift-activated manual override of one of the automatic modes is used intermittently, the DSG transmission will default back to the previously selected automatic mode after a predetermined duration of inactivity of the paddles, or when the vehicle becomes stationary. Alternatively, should the driver wish to immediately revert to fully automatic control, this can be done by activating and holding the plus paddle for at least 2 seconds. Advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: better fuel economy than conventional planetary geared automatic transmission and for some models with manual transmissions. No loss of torque transmission from the engine to the driving wheels during gear shifts. Short upshift time of 8 milliseconds when shifting to a gear the alternate gear shaft has pre-selected. Smooth gear shift operations. Consistent downshift time of 600 milliseconds, regardless of throttle or operational mode. Disadvantages: achieving no acceleration or hill climbing, while avoiding engine speeds higher than a certain limit, is difficult since it requires avoiding triggering the kickdown switch. Avoiding triggering the kickdown switch requires a good feel of the throttle pedal, but use of full throttle can still be achieved with a little sensitivity as the kickdown button is only activated beyond the normal full opening of the accelerator pedal. Marginally worse overall mechanical efficiency compared to a conventional manual transmission, especially on wet clutch variants. Expensive specialist transmission fluids, lubricants with dedicated additives are required, which need regular changes. Relatively expensive to manufacture, and therefore increases new vehicle purchase price. Relatively lengthy shift time when shifting to a gear ratio which the transmission control unit did not anticipate. Torque handling capability constraints perceive a limit on aftermarket engine tuning modifications. Later variants have been fitted to more powerful cars, such as the 300 bhp/350 Nm VW36 and the 272 bp/350 Nm Audi TTS. Heavier than a comparable getrag conventional manual transmission versus 47.5 kg. Fuel economy up to 15% worse than a manual. Applications. Volkswagen Group vehicles with the Dsg gearbox include Audi. After originally using the Dsg moniker, Audi subsequently renamed their direct shift gearbox to S-Tronic. Audi TT, Audi A1, Audi A3, Audi S3, Audi A4, Audi S4, Audi A5, Audi A7, Audi A8. Audi Q5, Audi R8 facelift, Bugatti Veyron EB 16.4, Seat Ibiza, Seat Liquiden, Seat Altia, Seat Toledo, Seat Alhambra, Angstrom Coda Fabia, Angstrom Coda Octavia, Angstrom Coda Rapid, Angstrom Coda Roomster, Angstrom Coda Superb 2, Angstrom Coda Yeti, Volkswagen passenger cars, Volkswagen Polo, Volkswagen Golf, GTI, TDI, R32, Volkswagen Jetta and Bora, Volkswagen Yos, Volkswagen Charan, Volkswagen New Beetle, Volkswagen New Beetle. Convertible, Volkswagen Passat under 36, Volkswagen CC, Volkswagen Sharon, Volkswagen Sirocco, Volkswagen Tiguan 2011, Volkswagen Passat, Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, Volkswagen Caddy car derived van, Volkswagen Transporter medium van. Problems and recalls of DSG-equipped vehicles. The 7-speed DQ200 and 6-speed DQ250 gearboxes sometimes suffer from power loss due to short-circuiting of wires caused by a buildup of sulfur in the transmission oil. United States of America. In August 2009, Volkswagen of America issued 2 recalls of DSG-equipped vehicles. The first involved 13,500 vehicles, and was to address unplanned shifts to the neutral gear, while the second involved similar problems and applied to 53,300 vehicles. These recalls arose as a result of investigations carried out by the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, where owners reported to the NHTSA a loss of power whilst driving. This investigation preliminary found only 2008 and 2009 model year vehicles as being affected. Australia. In November 2009, Volkswagen recalled certain Golf, Jetta, EOS, Passat and Caddy equipped with 6-speed DQ250 Dsg transmission because the gearbox may read the clutch temperature incorrectly, which lead to clutch protection mode, causing a loss of power of the vehicle. China. Since 2009 there have been widespread concerns from Chinese consumers, particularly among the online community, who expressed that Volkswagen has failed to respond to complaints about defects in its DSG-equipped vehicles. Typical issues associated with 6-speed Dsg include abnormal noise and inability to change gear. While issues associated with 7-speed Dsg include abnormal noise, excessive shift shock, abnormal increase in engine RPM, flashing gear indicator on the dashboard as well as inability to shift to even-numbered gears. In March 2012 China Euro unregistered trademark S quality watchdog the General Administration of Quality Supervision, Inspection and Quarantine said that it had been in contact with Volkswagen and urged the carmaker to probe the issues. In a survey held by Gasco.com of 2,937 industry experts and insiders, 83% of respondents believed that the carmaker should consider a full vehicle recall. In March 2012 Volkswagen Group China admitted that there could be an issue in its 7-speed Dsg gearboxes that may affect approximately 500,000 vehicles from its various subsidiaries in China. A software upgrade has since been offered for the affected vehicles in an attempt to repair the problem. According to 163.com, one of China's most popular web portals, in March 2012 about a quarter of the complaints about problems found in cars in China's automotive market were made against Dsg-equipped vehicles manufactured by Volkswagen. The top 5 models that dominate those complaints were, Volkswagen Magotan, 6%, Volkswagen Bora, 5.3%, Volkswagen Sagita, 5.3%, Volkswagen Touareg, 4.7%, Volkswagen Golf, 4%. On March 15, 2013 China Central Television aired a program for the World Consumer Rights Day. The program criticized the issue associated with Dsg-equipped vehicles manufactured by Volkswagen. On March 17, 2013 Volkswagen Group China announced on its official Weibo that it will voluntarily recall vehicles equipped with Dsg boxes. Some sources have estimated the failure rate of Dsg-equipped vehicles sold in China to be greater than 20,000 per million sold. Sweden stopped selling the Passat ECO fuel Dsg as a taxi after many cars had problems with the 7-speed Dsg gearbox. They instead offered the Charan ECO fuel Dsg, which is using an updated version of the same Dsg gearbox. Japan. The recall has been extended to Japan with 91,000 being recalled. Malaysia, 13 days after the Singapore recall, Volkswagen Malaysia also announced a recall for the 7-speed Dsg. No official statement was released by the company, but it was stated that a total of 3,962 were involved in the unit recall exercise, units produced between June 2010 and June 2011, with affected vehicles being Golf, Polo, Sirocco, Cross Charan, Passat and Jetta models equipped with the transmission. Worldwide recall. November 14, 2013 Volkswagen Group announced a major worldwide recall over problems with the 7-speed Dsg gearbox which might lead to loss of power, covering some 1.6M cars including those carrying the Audi, Skoda and Seat badges. See also, Volkswagen 01M transmission, list of ZF transmissions, list of Aisin transmissions, list of GM transmissions, list of Ford transmissions, multimode manual transmission, references. External links, dual clutch transmission, DCT facts, survey for those experiencing problems with their Volkswagen Group Dsg, official links, Volkswagen AG corporate website, independent links, pictures and diagrams of DQ250 Dsg at worldcarfans.com. Reviews, videos, and explanation of Dsg transmission, first drive, Audi TT 3.2 Dsg review at vovutex.com. European interest in dual-clutch technology shifts up a gear, an informative article from just-auto.com. Computer-controlled Meccano model of a Dsg transmission by Alan Wenburn of the South East London Meccano Club. Video of Alan Wenburn's Meccano Dsg in operation at youtube.com.